Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chat and Craft with Lorraine. I don't know what just happened to my screen here, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Let's see. I don't want that. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Chat and Craft with Lorraine. That was strange. It just jumped to a totally different screen when it went live. My name is Lorraine Tierney, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. It's Monday, April 21st, and I often try to go live on either Sunday night or Monday night. I tried to go live yesterday in between some busy things on Easter, and we got up for early morning sunrise service, and I just couldn't do it. I was too tired to think by later in the afternoon. So here I am tonight. And we're going to play with the Eclipse technique. And there's lots of different ways to do this technique, and I really don't even know what it means or how to explain it. So I'm just going to show you. Marvelous Monday. Yes, Mary, how are you? I'm going to show you a bunch of different ones that I've made with different interpretations of the Eclipse technique, and we're going to make one together now. And I just found out 3 minutes ago, right before I was coming on live, that we have free shipping days on April 23rd, 24th, 25th. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and free shipping on all orders of $75 or more. So get your list going. Hi, Nancy. What I'm going to show you tonight is going to use an item that's on the last chance sale right now. This is Enduring Beauty, and it has stamps, it has masks, and it has some dies. And we're going to use all three of those tonight. And it's one of my favorite stamp sets. I have used this stamp set a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I think you would really get a lot of use out of it. Let me just grab a mat. Okay, because we're going to use our blending brushes. I'm going to need a piece of paper. And it's on sale. I don't know what percentage off, but the stamp set's marked down quite a few bucks. I think the dies and the masks might be close to 50% off. So it may be cheaper to buy them individually than as a bundle. So I'm using some basic gray ink to just stamp down my flowers on a piece of basic white. And I've cut this 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then we're going to add some color with some masks. So all of the masks work this way. The ones for the linked together, the ones for layers of beauty, I think it is. There's quite a few different ones that work together. They all have a number in the corner. Hi, Roz. Thanks for joining. A number in the corner, and they have a notch, and we're going to use the notch to help us get things lined up. And I can't remember which way they like this flower to go. So I refer to the front of the case, and this is going to line up however it looks like on the front of the case, I believe. So I am going to line up this mask. You can see it's just letting the big flowers shine through. I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to put the notch in the corner. And I forgot, I want to put a piece of tape on that piece of basic white to keep it in place. So always keep a little painter's tape nearby and get a little bit of the sticky off by putting it on some clothes. And I can mark where this, I'm not marking on the white, but just marking where the paper is. Okay. So we are going to start start with some petal pink. We're using petal pink and soft seafoam. I'm going for a very soft color palette. So I have my blending brush, I have my ink, and I use some good firm pressure to pick up some ink, but I am gonna go pretty light with this first layer. I'm not gonna go too dark. Okay, so that's all there is to the first layer. So I take that mask up. I can just rinse these off in the sink when I'm done. And I'm looking for number 2. That one says number 3, 4, 5. Here is number 2. So on this set, they alternate between the leaves and the flowers. On some of the others, they stick with one thing more than another. So my notch is lined up, my edges are lined up. Hi, Joanne. And now I'm going to grab my soft seafoam, and I'm going to use those, or that color, I should say. And I'm just filling in the open areas. I tap off my blending brush a little so that I don't get a really dark smudge to start with. Okay, so that's it for number 2, and you can see that's starting to come to life a little bit. All right, so why don't I have number 3, I moved over here. Whew, did you hear that panic in my voice? Like, why don't I have number 3? All right, so number 3 is back to petal pink. And there's one little piece on here that I tend to make lift up. So I'm just holding that down with my finger. And I added a little bit of petal pink. And you can see, hi Jean, hi Jan, hi Sarah, thanks for watching. You can see it's starting to come to life with some of these masks. Okay, so we have one more. We haven't even gotten to the best part, which is the eclipse technique. But this is pretty fun, watching things appear with these masks. So I'm adding more soft seafoam. This time it's getting the stems, and it's going to add some shading to the leaves and the buds. Let's see how that works. Jan, I think you say my favorite green for just about every green. It's kind of like your DSP question. But you know, these colors, they're like kids. How can you pick a favorite? They're all favorites. All right, so one more little bit of pretty pink. Petal pink. Petal pink. What am I doing? I'm making a new color, pretty pink and petal pink. Petal pink, which really should be petal cantaloupe, because it's really not pink. All right, so we're done with this part, and we can get started with the eclipse part. So the eclipse part is where we're going to cut a frame out of this flower. And we're going to highlight a bit of it, kind of like that. And I've cut out 2 extra frames that I've glued together already because we're going to want to reinforce this frame a little bit. So I want this even with the top. And I'm going to put this through my cut and emboss machine. And this is I'm using the frame from Framed Scenes dies. these dies do go with a stamp set. I don't have the stamp set. The seams were not really my style. But I use the dies a ton. It has two oval dies. This just embosses a little wood grain texture, and then it has this rectangular die that is also going to leave a texture on the piece. It's a little bit tricky to get this out because it has some deep grooves. I think that's part of the reason why you have to reinforce it, because the embossing part of it tends to break down the fibers. Okay, so there's our pieces of the puzzle. The first thing we're going to do is glue this to this to make it a little bit sturdier. Okay, you can see that it's, whoops, I got stuck on something there. It's a little bit flimsy. So we're just going to glue it, the 3 layers together. And I like to do a color underneath. It does add just a hint of color at the sides, and I think that looks nice. Okay, so that we have to keep track of how that fits into our frame, because we wouldn't want to put it back in the wrong way. So it fits that way. And I'm going to turn this, well, I think I'll keep it that way. And so this also fits that way. Okay. So we'll keep those in the right orientation. And now someplace around here, I have a card base. Here we go. And a mat. So I'm going to get a mat. This is Petal Pink, and it's 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to glue this down. And there's a little border all the way around. Now, on the back of our mat, we're going to use foam strips because these have a little bit more height to them. And I want this to stick up a little bit more than just dimensionals. I've just cut these to make them a little bit easier to put where I want them. If you don't have foam strips, you could double up your dimensionals so that you have a little bit more height. Fat Boy is saying hello. I don't know if you can hear him. Maybe he thinks your cat is around, Jean. Okay. So now I have something stuck here. There we go. I'm going to pull off the paper on the back of these foam adhesive strips. Okay, and I have to figure out which way is right side up. Again, I think that's it. So I'm going to put it ever so slightly off center. Hi, Carol. I'm going to put it I'm going to show maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe less, of the petal pink in that lower right hand side. Just a little tiny smidge. Okay, so that is on there like that. And then this is going to get glued back down in the middle. And we're just going to sneak that in and get it so it's back in there. So isn't that pretty? It kind of highlights part of the image by raising it up. It's really a very pretty technique. Then this goes onto the card base, and that is soft sea foam. And we have to do a sentiment for this. And yell at me right through your computer, phone, or tablet if I forget to build up the sentiment, okay? Because this is 3 layers thick, and when it's on the foam, it is a different height. If I just put foam under 1 layer of this, it's going to be a little bit cockeyed. So I'm trying to decide, do I want to do the sentiment on petal pink, or do I want to do it on white? And I'm going to use basic gray. And my sentiment's going to say, make a wish. What do you think? Do you like it on the petal pink or the white? And I'm even going to show you. I'll stamp it on there. There it is on the white. That's the double. And here it is on petal pink. Oh, I made a little smudge on that. I may have to turn that over. Do you like the petal pink or do you like the white? I'm not going to make a bigger mat because I don't want to cover up more of that. I'm going to cut another petal pink one while you tell me what you're voting for. So, no combining. Good idea, Jean, but I don't want to make it bigger. So white or petal pink? I have a pink. That's the one I made a mess on. Let's see. Oh, now I put my hand in the ink. It's just one of those nights, huh? Okay, it looks like petal pink it is. So I'm going to glue this onto the other 2 ovals. I just cut out 3 of the exact same ovals. I could have sponged around the white jean to make a little border there. That might have worked, huh? And I want to put that on like that. So I'm going to put some foam strips just on the bottom. And I have to cut this one, I think, and up the side. And then if we like that, we can put a dab of glue on the frame. Oh, that's good. That's the right height for that. And I'm going to put the glue on the frame because I don't know where that's going to hit back here. Oh, I'm glad you like the petal pink. Is that straight? I'm sorry, I've got to pull that down just a little bit. Make a wish, and let's get some bling. I thought maybe antique pearls, but I don't know about that. Let's see what else I have over here. How about, oh, I have, is that gray? These are retired gray matte dots, and I love these. I am going to use some of these. I'm shedding on there. Let me find, let's see if I can, something is sticking over there. There we go. Got that off. Okay. So I'm going to put, I just pulled that one off its adhesive dot. I'm going to put a couple of these around. Maybe one right in that flower. And that is an example of the Eclipse technique. On the inside, I would put a piece of basic white and maybe stamp a little bit of this flower. Let's see, I have one right here. Let's stamp just a little bit of the flower on the inside, just for a little interest. There we go. And that would go right in there like that. So let me show you a bunch of other ones that I made, because I had a lot of fun yesterday playing with these and being undecided. And of course, I'm going to ask you which one you like the best. So here's one. I call this the clean and simple variety. So it just has the frame, and that's with the mini corrugated embossing folder, and it's mini because the lines are close together. It's full size. And then I just put a couple of leaves from the Lovely Garden Suite on there. And you can see this is one I use dimensionals on, and it doesn't have the same height as the foam tape. I like, or the adhesive. I like the foam. Here's another one I did with the birch woods embossing folder, and I made my own frame with the Everyday Arches dies, and then just put the flower across it. So I like that one. Then I decided to do it with a piece of DSP, a piece of designer series paper. And so I did my frame out of that and popped it up and added a couple of flowers and a sentiment. And then I did another one where I stamped my own pattern. This is just a little daisy, one flower on the stamp. I just stamped it all around, and I cut the frame at an angle, and then did a little happy birthday, and I forgot to layer my sentiment. So you can see that it's a little wonky there. It kind of goes up and down. So it's important to remember to layer the piece that your sentiment is on if it's going to hang over. So those are my examples for you of how you can do the Eclipse technique with, I'm getting stuff on this one too. There must be something on my hands. If you have a frame die like this, you can use the frame. Or you can make your own frame with some nesting dies. So Jan, you like the yellow one with the daisies. And Carol, your favorite is the one with the DSP and the With Love. I really like that bold paper. And you know, I didn't like that paper at first, one of those things, but once you cut it, and it might have been pretty with a second mat too. I may have to try that again. What, me too on which one, Joanne? I was predicting you would say the daisies. And you like the petal pink? Oh, the petal pink flower, the one we did tonight, Nancy. Yeah, I like that one too. I think that one really stands out. So it's interesting. You can have it be just a plain frame or have it be part of the focal point. You like the Make-A-Wish, Jean. Joanne, I thought you would go for daisies. I think your middle name is Daisy. Joanne Daisy. Yeah. I think that's it. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight and taking a look at all my different Eclipse cards. I hope it's something you'll try. It's not hard at all, and you see how you can do it in so many different ways. So have a great rest of your Monday evening. We have a Zoom class tomorrow night. It's our 5-year anniversary of the Zoom classes. That's about 260 classes we've had, and we're going to have extra prizes in honor of the 5-year anniversary. So the link will be posted tomorrow for the Zoom class if you'd like to join at 6:30 Eastern time. All right, have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.